Hey guys, JJ here, back with another Saturday of Zoom networking. Got a really awesome guest speaker for you and a really awesome topic. I think you guys are going to love this. Our guest speaker today, just a really nice guy. He like the rest of us, started out in a real estate education program as a student. Eventually became an investor, now a very successful entrepreneur. I'd like to introduce my good friend, Peter Roth. Peter, how are you?
I'm really good, man. How are you? Thank you for having me here.
Great. Hey, for those that don't know you, where in the country are you located?
I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Beautiful. I've actually been to Denver.
Nice.
Last year I went out for a Dodgers Rockies game. Had a one of my dreams is to see the Dodgers play in every ballpark around the league. Let me ask you, we all get started through real estate at a different time. You've been in this game for quite a while, for more than a minute, as they say.
Not as long as you'd think. I'm by no stretch any sort of an expert. I wouldn't even call myself, I'm a really humble guy. Like I know what I'm good at and I'm proud of what I'm good at, but when I'm not good at something, I just straight up say that's not my thing.
So,
Talk
well,
to someone.
your
So I don't pretend to
wheelhouse.
be any expert in that.
Well,
That's not the thing that.
what you know a little bit about your topic today is build a call center to generate endless leads. Now, when someone's a new investor, it's like, gotta get leads, gotta get leads. And how do I get leads? And give me a sheet to just, I'm gonna buy a list of people to call these leads. For the new investor, someone's watching for the first time. What is a lead? I mean, you know, what makes a lead a lead? There's a hot lead, there's a prospective lead. I mean, at what point in time does an interaction become a legitimate lead for an investor?
Yeah, I come from the lead generation space, right? So that's my primary bread and butter is generating leads for multiple different industries. So I've become so jaded to what the definition of a lead is that now, I don't even consider us, we book and generate appointments for multiple different industries where my call center team will actually go out there and book appointments for you. I don't even necessarily call that a lead. Sometimes that is just even a pre-booked appointment for me is sometimes barely even a lead because it could so quickly turn into a no-show and it can fizzle out so
Hmm.
fast.
Hmm.
So you get my idea. I've become pretty jaded to what the definition of a lead is. I've become pretty strict as to what the definition of a lead is. So for me, anything that, hasn't expressed a large degree of interest in something, that's just the data record. To me, that's just a person. That's not even a lead yet. I think as you become more discerning with what your definition of a lead is, you start to become much more diligent and much stricter with yourself and what your
Okay.
standards are. And then you'll find your lead quality really goes up because you found out that it wasn't even a lead in the first place. It was just a
So
data record.
as you got into real estate, at what point in time did the concept of a call center become to your awareness as something that you could possibly leverage to benefit your business?
The call center came before real estate. So I was already doing call center work and I had a little bit of spare time, a little bit of spare money. And so I've always kind of wanted to get into the real estate side of things because I needed a place to park my money. And then realized, oh, I'm kind of sitting on a pretty big gold mine here with this call center thing because it's a lead generation machine for really most industries, right? I mean, fill in the blank of whatever industry you're in, it applies. Anything where a cold call makes sense, call center can save the day. So I was fortunate, right, that I had that already at my disposal. So that came first. The real estate came second.
And what industry had you started call centers with if it wasn't the real estate industry?
The home services space. I have a really funky background. So I started off in the cigar business and I'm still in the cigar business. So I started off in the cigar business, opened up a really high-end cigar bar here in the Denver market and ran that for like 15 years. Also ran retail cigar stores, and also an online, online wholesale cigar distribution company, which I still own today. And when I got out of the retail side, the customer facing side of the cigar business is when I got into the home services space. So I started an HVAC company and realized really quickly it was really hard to get leads, especially as a brand new company. I didn't have anything existing already in a pipeline. I had
Okay.
no pipeline. So I needed to start from scratch. And this was like, 10 plus years ago. And the lead generation space just really wasn't as developed as it is now. Now there's more opportunity, there's more options now. And I just didn't have that. So I really had to kind of figure it out on my own. And slowly but surely, it just kind of naturally developed into that sort of a thing. It's like, started getting list of homeowner data, would have one or two people call it. And then, just slowly but surely started to realize, I needed to start developing this thing and maturing it a little bit in order for it to really work at high efficiency. Next thing you know, I'm running a full call center. And
Wow.
then that then turned into a solar company, which now turned into a full-on marketing company. So now, I do this, for a lot of different industries, not just, I just love doing it with real estate because it just kind of strikes, home near and dear to me. So I just like the
Wow.
community a lot. And I just like helping people, especially if it's in an industry that I've already done, then I'm really passionate about it because then I know I can actually help you. Like if you came to me and say, "Hey, I sell blah 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 widgets," I'd be like, "Cool, I can definitely build a call center for you," but my passion isn't going to be there because I don't know what the hell you're selling. But with given that it's real estate and I'm in it too, it's nice because then I can actually really like help you out, right? And I like to get my fingernails dirty with my clients, so I like to get in there with them and I'm there with them. I'm not just building these things from
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
high. Like I'm in the
Well,
trench.
let's move into real estate. You've been doing this for yourself for a while. It's helped you build your own real estate portfolio, I'm sure, right? So we talking about building a call center to generate endless leads. Is this something a new investor can do?
Mhm. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's like you don't have to think of call center sounds intimidating. I get it, right? It sounds like well, a lot of people have different definitions of what or preconceived notion of what they think. I'll call like some people think of it as like a sweatshop in the Philippines, right? I mean, a basement, with a bunch of guys dialing away. Yeah, that actually does exist. Yes, there's a lot of that, right? But that's not what we do. We don't build those types of things. But you don't have to have a full-fledged call center in order to have a call center. I mean, a call center is, the setter closer model is a call center, right? Just having a VA making calls for you, that's a call center, right? So, I mean, you can do that too. You don't need me for that. I can give you some tips, then you can go do this on your own for under $1,000. And
Wow.
if you want to hear my little quick and dirty blueprint on how to build your own call center for about $1,000, I'm happy to share it with you because it
Most
doesn't
definitely.
hurt my
Yeah.
feelings one bit. So
You
yeah,
guys
so I
want
mean,
you guys want to hear that? Can I get some thumbs up there somewhere?
you want to give me some
Yeah,
hands
we got
raised,
some
and I'll
feedback.
show you
Yeah,
how to do
let's
this.
yeah,
I'll show
take
you how to do
you
this
want
on
to
the
share your
quick and
screen?
dirty.
Do you need to share your screen?
I don't need to. I'll just talk you through it.
Sure, let's go.
Yeah, I don't need to. There's 3 steps, guys. There's literally 3 steps. If you want to take a pen and a paper and write these 3 steps down, I'll walk you through it. You need a setter. Call it whatever you want. Call center agent, setter, VA, fill in whatever term you want to use. It's all just semantics at that point. So you need a setter, call it a VA, whatever you want to call it. Number one is VA. Number two is a dialer. Number three is you need data. You call it leads, I call it data. To me, it's not a lead. Once we've gotten interest from them and they're really interested, then it's a lead. But okay, recruit, dialer, and leads. A recruit, you can get them on your own, right? You don't need to pay a company like me because we do recruiting services and all that kind of stuff. You don't need to pay me. I just make your life easier, right? Like what any good company does, right? We just perfected it. We make it easier. We provide warranties, blah, 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 blah. It's cool. It's nice, but you don't need to pay a company like me to do that. So step one is go get yourself a VA. There's a million places. JJ, you probably even know better resources than I do of where to get a good VA. But what my only tip, my advice for you is do not hire someone that doesn't have pre-existing experience. They must have pre-existing experience calling for real estate in the thing that you're doing, right? And
Yeah.
cold calling for real estate is way easier than you think. Like usually you're just sniffing around for motivation, right?
Yeah,
You
no,
want to sell yes or
that
no?
is that's
I mean,
crucial. I know what my I was very fortunate. My VA Bell is was fortunate that she had already been engaged with two other investors
mhm.
who were very successful investors. And so I didn't really need to vet her because I know the people that she was working with for a lengthy period of time had gotten to the point where she was qualified. So yeah, I agree with you entirely. Making sure that person has some experience is crucial.
Yeah, I agree. So go hire yourself a VA. There's a million resources. I am honestly not an expert in those. There's that one really good one, JJ. You probably know what it is. It's like onlinejobs.ph. I think I got that
I
right.
wouldn't know. Once I
You
found
may want
Bell, I
to
closed
write that
that
down,
door.
guys. It's a aggregator website. It's like a job posting website for Filipino VAs, and they're great for this. Filipino VAs are really fantastic for this. They're extremely polite, they're extremely friendly, very, very professional. So I think Philippines is great. If you're going to look for two countries to hire people from, I'll just tell you right now, having been in the call, yeah, Bell just posted onlinejobs.ph. There you go. There's the website, and I've hired people from there, and it's a really good. People have to post. They have to really, really be very transparent and post all their skill sets and their entire resume. I mean, it is really, really detailed. So it's a great, great resource. And there's other ones too. Like that doesn't have to be your main one, but that is a really good one. So countries to hire from that I would recommend. This is important when you're hiring a VA. Where you hire them from, I think, is very, very important. To all my Indian friends on this Zoom chat, I apologize to you right now. I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but it's not the best country to hire from. India and Pakistan. I love you guys. I love working with you guys when it comes to like tech support and tech work and all kinds of. Oh, did my camera just freeze up on you guys? Am I
Uh,
frozen?
just a little bit, but it'll snap back, I'm
I'll
sure.
turn it back off and back on again. There we go. Those countries, unfortunately, American ears just respond differently to different accents, and Indian and Pakistani accents just have a very high hang-up rate, right? So I'm just stating the facts. It doesn't hope that doesn't come off sounding wrong, and I apologize
Yeah.
if it does, but it just is what it is. Whereas just about every other country doesn't seem to have that issue. So Philippines is great, and all of Latin America, and anywhere in Latin America, South America, Central America, Mexico, you name it, all of those countries are fantastic, super, super high quality. So that's kind of, I think, or in Egypt as well. So I would focus my efforts on Philippines, Egypt, and anywhere in Latin America. The pricing for them hourly, if budget is a real concern for you, and you guys really, really need to watch your budget, then I would go start with Egypt is probably going to be the least expensive hourly, then Philippines by a tiny margin. I mean, we're talking pennies; they're really close to each other, and then Latin America. Latin America is a little bit more expensive just because of proximity. It just is what it is. They just are a little bit more. Cost of living is probably higher too in Latin America. So, but I do think, but I would probably go in reverse order. I would probably go Latin America, Philippines, and then Egypt, I think, if I had my choice. Um, but so hire yourself a good VA, must have pre-existing experience. You don't want to take someone and just train them from the ground up. It's not going to be very effective. You may get lucky, right? Rules are meant to be broken, so don't take anything that I'm saying as, gospel. I mean, if you've got someone and if you have someone that you already know and trust and you're confident in them, then hallelujah, do that. Okay, so step one is hire a VA. VAs should earn anywhere between like Egypt and Philippines. They earn typically for someone who speaks perfect English, $5, $6 an hour, somewhere around there. And then Latin America, $6 to $8 an hour. So still very, very reasonable. Okay. So there's your recruit, right? So now just do the math based on their month, their first month's worth of wages. We're talking about 1,000 to 1,200 bucks. Okay. So that's what you should budget for labor. Okay. Step two is the dialer. A dialer, here's what you need for a dialer. It must be a predictive dialer. Write that down. Predictive dialer. You don't want to use what's called a power dialer, and you definitely don't want to use your cell phone. So you don't want to be making these calls one at a time. It's horribly, horribly inefficient and super, super slow. So you need a really high-powered auto dialer, and these are called predictive dialers. The definition of a predictive dialer is something that can call more than one line at a time. But a
Oh,
good predictive dialer will call 10, 20 plus lines at a given time. So it's literally blasting, it's making 20 calls all at the same time. And the way that it works is that whoever answers the phone first, it disconnects everybody else and it connects to that person right away. And then when that call ends, it'll call back in reverse. In order of who got disconnected first. It'll call them back right away. So it calls back all those people that you accidentally disconnected on.
cool.
So a predictive dialer is available to anybody. This is not some high-tech, super fancy, complicated solution that like only techie people. No, nothing like that at all. My primary software that I recommend to people, if you want me to send you my affiliate link, it's not because I'm trying to make a buck off of it. It's the reason why I send out my affiliate link is because that way you guys get a discount. It's a company called Ready Mode. But Ready Mode is by far the favorite dialer that we have used, and I've used all of them, as you can imagine by this point. Ready Mode is just for every single reason imaginable, and I can give you a whole long list of why I like it the most. But suffice it to say, it's my favorite one out of all of them. It still has a couple issues here and there, but overall, it's my
Yeah.
favorite. If you use my affiliate link, you'll get a small discount on it. But even more importantly, because we send so much business their way, we have a dedicated concierge there, and you'll get that concierge too. So
Oh,
that's really the
cool.
biggest reason, because now you get like personalized white glove service. So if you're interested, I'll give it to JJ or something. We can post it here in the, I'll post it here in the chat or something. I'll give it to JJ as well.
That's
So
cool.
number two is the dialer. That will cost $250 a month. Okay, and that's everything, everything, everything included. No surprises, no nothing after that. Yvonne asked a question, how will AI disrupt? I will address that in just a second, Yvonne, I promise. Let me write it down so I don't forget. AI. For Yvonne, I will address that. Okay, so the dialer's about $250. That's net, 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 everything all included. No other surprise costs after that. That is important. That's really, really important. And then number three is just data, leads, right? Whatever you guys want to call it, leads, right? You need to load up numbers for your VA to call. And that's wherever you want to go, right? We sell that stuff. You don't have to come to me for it. It's not necessary. You can go to PropStream, batch leads, wherever your favorite lead source is, go there. Now, leads are leads, right? We all know this. We've all called leads, and we all know that the problem is we're all buying the same leads, all of us, right? We're all getting them from the same place and calling the same numbers and just beating the garbage out of them. So get creative, guys. Don't all buy your leads from the exact same source, because that's really a problem, because you think those people aren't annoyed as hell from getting all your calls. They've gotten every call from everyone under the sun. They've all heard every single story imaginable. So sometimes one of the best things that you can do when it comes to lead acquisition is just think outside of the box and go somewhere where other people aren't. So get outside of your usual comfort zone of PropStream and batch leads and blah, 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 and go find different lead sources. Even if you don't necessarily know if they're awesome, just start off with a small batch, throw 50 or $100 at it and see what happens. It's such a small risk. You might as well give it a shot, because for you guys that are keeps just throwing money at PropStream and batch leads over and over again, you and everyone else is doing the same thing. You've got to stop fishing in the same pond as everybody else. Okay, so leads, $100, whatever, $200, go drop a couple $100. So in reality, we're talking what? What did I say, about $1,200 in labor, 250 for the dialer, a couple $100 for leads. What does that put us? I mean, 1,300 bucks, roughly, whatever. Someone here is faster at math than me, but maybe like 1,200, 1,300 bucks for your
Something like that.
first
Yeah.
month to get rolling. I'm sure we've all spent way the hell more than that on fruitless lead 1650, Gerald, am I really 1650? Is that what it really? Okay, I'll trust you. But you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure we've all spent way the hell more than that on, scammy lead gen companies, or even if they're not scammy, then companies that just don't perform. And everyone, who here has wasted more money than that on lead generation efforts? Yeah, that's
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
what I figured. Yeah, that's what I figured. So that's a drop in the bucket, right? But here's the big advantage, guys, is this going to be successful overnight? No, it's not, right? I'm not delusional. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you guys. I don't do that with my clients. That's not how I sell. I'm a total realist with people. I'm devil's advocate. I'm always playing the devil's advocate role. So, I want you guys to understand that, like, just because I gave you the blueprint doesn't mean it's going to work in the first 30 days. So please don't think that it will. The dialer is easy, right? That's just a piece of software. You put your money in and off it goes, right? There's no big surprises there. The areas where there's going to be some gray area is on the human side. Number one, the human side is by far the most has the largest degree of variables, and then the leads. Right now, if you already have a good source of leads, then good, great, good for you. Then you've already got that. Oh, my camera's like not focusing. There we go. Then you can at least check that box, right? But the recruit thing is very important. So you guys do need to spend time working with your VA. You should definitely spend a lot of time working with that VA and training them. And the best way to do it is really just listen to their calls. Ready Mode, the software that I recommend for most people, and really almost any good quality predictive dialer, will have the ability to go back to listen to calls. In fact, they even have the ability to listen to calls live. So you can literally get on your computer and listen to your VA talking to folks like in real time. So you want to do that. That's really the most important thing is for you to be super, super involved and listen to these folks as they're talking and just be able to give them tips every single day. The more involved you are with them and the more that they know that you're involved with them and you're not an absentee owner, the faster this thing will get off the ground really quickly. So I mean, I've seen people get this dialed in really, really quickly in the matter of like 2, 3 weeks, and I've seen people never get it dialed in because they're just not that invested into it. So I hope that helps, guys. There's the world's quickest blueprint. Get a VA, get a dialer, go get a batch of leads, go get started. Now you've got yourself the world's smallest call center. And when that works, and when that first VA is taken off and they're really performing well and they're self-sufficient, then go hire the next one and then the next one. But don't do it too quickly. That's one of the things that I've seen biggest mistakes that I've seen is that folks jump into this way too fast. They get way too aggressive. They go hire 4 VAs all at once, and then they
Yeah.
go hire 4 more a week later, and then the whole thing implodes.
Hey,
Don't do that.
Peter, we got a question here. Let me bring somebody on if he's
Sure.
Mr. Rick Strickland. Hey, Rick, you're on
Sure.
with Peter Roth. What's your question?
No, but I mean, I can relate with that because I was like with a very high profile Las Vegas sub two person, and they put us on calls, right? Cold calls. And it sucked. Oh my God, it has sucked.
Yeah.
And, like my very first call, I got cussed out, and it took every bit of my patience not to cuss her out. But she had been a realtor, and her and her husband had, they had faced hard financial times. And, then I heard Paige talking about, be kind, be generous. So, but, no, I totally get it, man. I appreciate what you're doing, but, unless you get out there and do the cold calls and get the hang-ups and get the get the voicemails or get the text mails, or people just get totally pissed off and angry because they can't fix their problem, but they don't really like you for trying to fix the problem. Yeah, I appreciate this. Thank you. I got all VA and dialer and leads. So I appreciate you,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Roth. Yeah.
You're very welcome.
I wish I'd have seen you like a year and a half ago. So thank you, sir.
You're very welcome, man. You're very welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Rick. Frank Young, you're on with Peter Roth. What's your question?
Question has to do with the software. Does the ReadyBoat software include multiple dial-out phone lines, or is that an extra charge or an extra service, or how does that work?
No, it's all included. Yeah, with ready mode. Really, with any predictive dialer, they're not going to nickel and dime you or stuff like that. Ready mode, I think, maxes out at 28 lines at once. 20 to 20. They cap it at 20. You can call management and have them lift it to 28. You don't need 28. 20 is more than enough. But no, that's all included. The things that you're going to look for, if you don't want to use ready mode, that's fine. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. But the things you want, the three main areas where you're going to spend money on the dialer portion of this equation is the software itself, is the minutes that you're going to consume, right? Because there's VoIP minutes involved in doing this. So it's the consumption of the minutes itself. And then what's called DIDs. DIDs are the actual outbound phone numbers that get loaded up into the software. You can't call a million phone numbers like you're going to be doing here. You can't do that with one number. That one number is going to blow up, and within a matter of an hour, it's going to get marked as spam likely, and then no one's going to answer your call. Right? There's FCC rules and regulations that basically state that you cannot abuse these numbers, and there's no hard and fast rule to it. But the general rule is that one number should never be used to call more than 90 outbound calls in any given day. I think 100 is probably closer to the threshold, so they like to keep it under that threshold. So the software is intelligent enough to know that you just need to load up enough phone numbers to match however many agents you have, to match however many outbound calls they're making in a day, and they'll give you guidance on that. But then also give you guidance on how many DIDs to purchase. That's included in the 250 I already mentioned. So, but you'll still need to kind of fine tune that. And like I said, it could be 230, it could be 240, it could be 260, but I'm giving you the higher end of the scale, so it could actually be a little bit lower than what I'm saying. Again, I like to overestimate everything. So the DIDs is the third and final component. Now, the good news is what I told you, like at least with ready mode, that's all included together. All three of those components are bundled together, so you don't need to worry about it. Not every dialer works that way, though, Frank.
Mark, you're on with Peter. What's your question?
Yo, thank you, everybody, for being here. going back to what Rick said about the rejection, a lot of people talk about that. They get beat up with that rejection. Like it affects them personally, I think, because everybody's getting called. Like you said, the lists are just getting hammered and beat
Well,
up.
yeah, well, there's that. That's why I do recommend trying to think outside of the box and not going to the usual resources for leads. That's part one to answer your question. Part two to answer your question is honestly like, how do I put that? That shouldn't be your problem, right? That's why we hire VAs. When you hire VAs with existing experience, and when I say VAs, let me be more specific. Call center agent. You want to hire people who literally identify themselves as a call center agent, not just a VA. They get lumped in together, but to be really specific, guys, keywords that I would look for is call center agent. You want to look for someone who identifies themselves as that because you're not going to deal with what I'm sorry, your name was Mark? Mark, you're not going to deal. They're not going to deal with that. Someone who's a veteran call center agent, they have such thick skin. They don't give a shit about that kind of thing. They have they're well past that part of their lives.
We were doing some like cold calling and stuff like that, role playing and stuff. And I did see, a gentleman, and the conversation got so heated, And I'm like, somebody's got to slow down actually, or something. But it was just like the anger just started escalating and just getting deeper and
Yeah.
deeper. Pretty
Well, you
soon,
guys, look, who here is a student of sales? Like who here identifies themselves as a real student of sales? Like you read sales books and take sales training, coaching programs. Who, by raise of hand, who does that sort of a thing? Okay, who here has heard of Jeremy Miner? Okay, so Jeremy Miner runs a style of sales training called NEPQ, Neuro Emotional Persuasion Questioning. Really fancy for just asking questions that get people emotionally involved. How did that make you feel? Right, things like that, right? Questions that get people to bring out their emotional side. Why? Because sales is an emotional decision, right? It's not a logical decision. And especially when it comes to like, dealing with people who are in a distressed environment, they're not selling their home because they have to. They're selling their home because they're late on bills, they've missed payments, whatever, right? And it's an emotional thing, and they're not happy about it. So, yeah, Mark, you're going to be dealing with a lot of pissed off people. That's normal. And the reason why I brought up Jeremy Miner is because he talks about how like we have to let go of the old way of selling, which is the ABC, right? The Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross, always be closing, right? Coffee is for closers, right? That doesn't work anymore in this economy. People have gotten way too smart. We're well past that. Now you have to be way more subtle now. So I like what Jeremy did. He basically rebranded ABC to ABD, always be disarming, right? So you cannot get into a situation where you find yourself butting heads in a heated argument with the homeowner. You're not disarming them. You're actually making the situation a lot worse, right? So the most important thing is to always empathize, right? The ability to show empathy for a homeowner, because you have to assume they're in a tough spot. This isn't a business decision for them. They're not selling their home because they fucking feel like it. They're selling their home because they don't have a choice. And it's not the choice they want. So you have to show empathy, right? This is an emotional play. And so the more empathetic that you can be and the more you can disarm them, the less likely you are to turn this into a headbutting match. So, I mean, I'm sure I'm not the first person who's told you that, cold calling for these types of leads, you're not so much a salesman as you are a therapist.
you are.
Right. So start putting yourself in the shoes as a therapist and start thinking about, where these folks are coming from. And it's not pretty. And if you can kind of empathize with them, I think you'll find that the whole process is a lot smoother. So ABD, always be disarming.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. JJ,
You bet.
awesome.
Mr. Calvert Ackland, you are on Peter Roth. What's your question?
Thanks for taking the time, JJ and Peter. I just wanted to ask a quick question. I worked at Geico as an insurance agent before in a call center, had over 1,000 call center reps. So I'm familiar with call centers, but as a real estate agent or real estate investor, the challenge I'm seeing now is that when I'm dealing with or even interviewing VAs who are in the Philippines, the time zone difference is such a significance that they can't meet, me in the middle because, well, I'm in Virginia and they're 5 hours difference. How did they call someone in Virginia on the East Coast? So what is your recommendation on how to meet that challenge?
Latin America.
Okay.
Latin America. Yeah. That's still my first and primary source. It's just that there's so many, there's such a large a job pool of Filipinos that tends to be where people seem to kind of gravitate towards first. But ultimately speaking, yeah, they're working graveyard shifts and it's not fun. No one loves to do it. And it comes through in the quality of their work. Usually, not always, right? There's some rock stars out there. So I don't want to overgeneralize, of course, but yeah, Latin America.
All right, thank you for that.
You're welcome. And guys, when you're interviewing a call center agent, again, I'm going to stop calling them VAs. When you're interviewing a call center agent, I want you to come up with your top list of objections that you hear on a regular basis, or that you think you might hear on a regular basis, and that's how you should be interviewing them. So interview them by throwing objections. Here's the steps that I do when we interview call center agents. This might help you. When we interview call center agents, I make them show up with a joke prepared. I want to hear them make me laugh. Why? Because we all know that in sales, most people don't buy stuff from the guy that knows the most. They don't care. Most people don't even buy something from the guy who's got the lowest price. That's not the most important thing. People buy from who they like, period.
Yeah.
Sales is a personality test. It is not a test of your skill level. It's a personality test. Yvonne, laughter is the gateway. Correct. Yes. So if you can get people laughing, you will have accomplished 50% of everything you do just by getting someone to laugh. So we make all of our call center agents show up with a joke prepared, and we tell them like, hey, come prepared with a joke. Want to hear you make us laugh. Dirty jokes are okay. And I can promise you 10 out of 10 times, the guy or gal with the dirtiest joke is always going to be your top rock star. 100%, not 99, 100% of the time. Why? Because number one, they have balls. How else do I put it? They got a lot of courage, super brave. They're not shy, right? Because they know they can just put themselves out on a limb, which you have to be a successful cold caller. And then, number two, they think quickly on their feet. They're just fast, right? They're just cognitively quick. Comedians are incredibly quick-witted people, right? And so if you can find someone with an incredibly strong sense of humor, it's fantastic because, when a homeowner throws an objection at you, they don't have time to pull out their rebuttal card and, oh, what was that one again? No, they don't have time. They got to be quick, right? And people with a quick sense of humor are really quick. Got to be nimble. That's right. So throw that at them, make them show up with a joke prepared. And if they're dry-witted, I'm just telling you right now, just keep looking. Don't settle, you guys. That's an important thing. Don't settle. There's going to be plenty of people to choose from. You really want to find a rock star. This person's going to stick with you for a long time. If they're really good, they're going to stick with you for a long time. They're going to be like your right hand man, person, whatever, right? So really find someone that you really, really have a strong degree of faith in. So yeah, be selective. Number two, okay, so throw objections at them, and quite a few. Give them, 5 or 6 objections, and hear how they sound like. Hear how they handle them. That's step 2. And then step 3, just let them pitch you. Just put them on a fake cold call right then and there with you. Ring, ring, ring. Hello, right? And just throw them in right there. Don't even warn them that it's coming. That's the important thing. Don't warn them that it's coming. Just don't tell them that you're going to ask them to do like a real dry call with you. Just throw it right at them. And then you'll see, do those 3 things. I promise you'll have a very easy time interviewing call center agents for yourselves.
Thank you. So the following question I had to that is, where do you find those? Is there a site that you can go to find? Because you recommended the Philippines, and a site for that. Is there a site that you recommend for finding call center agents in?
I wish I had one for you, Calvert. I don't. We do all of our recruiting because we've just been in this space for so long. So we have a unique position. Because we've been doing this for so long, we've got a really strong connection with the community of people in Mexico that have been deported from the US. It's not a huge community. Well, it is actually a pretty huge community, and it's growing, obviously. So that's where we normally pull from. So that's kind of like the cream of the crop, because now you're able to find folks at the highest possible level who are still making, Mexican wages. Now, if they're making good money, they're making $7 to $8 an hour, which is like the equivalent here, probably $75,000 a year. So they're making really good money. So don't feel bad. Like, they're making really good money. But that's where we pull from. And it's not like some website. It's just, we've got so many connections just having done this for so long. So, like I said, if you ever want, if you want the best of the best, you can reach out to me. We do recruiting services. We literally charge $650. There you go. We charge $650. It's a one-time flat recruitment fee. Whoever we bring to the table for you will have pre-existing experience in real estate investing, most likely wholesaler or something like that. So they'll already have pre-existing experience. We provide a 1 week replacement warranty, which is way more than you need anyway, because you should know within 2 to 3 days if they're going to make it for you. So we provide a replacement warranty. So if you don't like them for any reason at all, we'll just replace them for you right away. So there's that. You can be present during the interview process. So if you want to literally be present and hand select who you'd like to work with, that's totally welcome. That's completely fine. Takes us about 4 days to bring you a recruit. So, I mean, we can do this. That's the difference, right? We do it quickly. But like I'm saying, I'm not saying this to pitch me. This is just to say, like, you can do this yourself. I just don't know where to send you for Latin America.
James Pecora, you're on with Peter. What's your question?
Hey, Peter. I apologize if you covered this, but who's your company? And if we don't take the do-it-yourself or roll your own prescription that you just rolled out, and you just covered this a little bit with the previous caller, if we hire you, what are we getting? If we hire you as a call center or some other call center, how many of the 3 areas are we getting with that? And like, what is your pricing? Let's talk about a little bit outside of the DIY aspect of it.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thank you for asking the question. So, we can. I always tell people I can sell you the full call center, or I can deconstruct it like a junkyard and just sell you the parts. Right? I just need the door for the car. Cool. I'll sell you the door. Right? So we can deconstruct it, which I've already kind of talked to you about the deconstructed version of it. But a full call center build out is kind of the same thing. It's just done on a much larger, not necessarily larger, just on a much more perfected scale. Right? So now you've got my guidance to come and help my entire team to really build this whole thing out for you. So we're placing the agents for you. We're building out the entire dialer system for you. We're helping with the lead acquisition portion of this, and we're showing you how to not only how to put in the leads, but where to go for leads, and then how to be nimble and when to switch leads, because leads is a kind of a delicate part of this whole thing. That's where I lost my shirt. I've been doing call centers for about 6 years now. My quick little backstory. My first 2 years, no shit, no joke, I lost almost $250,000. It was in solar. It wasn't in real estate. To be fair, it was in solar. Okay, a very different industry. But I lost almost $250,000, and solar is really difficult. So I lost almost $250,000 because I just didn't know what the hell I was doing. And there was no one else out there really doing anything like this. So I had no one to learn from. So I'm not saying my story is particularly usual. Maybe other people are smarter than me and they figured it out faster than I did. I suppose it's possible, but that's my story. So, what we'll do is we'll come in and we'll help build out the entire platform for you. We'll provide the ongoing support. We'll come in and do, weekly performance reviews with you. So help the entire process and really help dial it in. We help, we place with management. We place quality assurance managers. So we're doing literally everything, the entire thing, and then just handing you the keys. Now, that sounds like a done for you model, which it is, because it is entirely done for you. But concurrently, it's also done with you, because I want you to know how to run the damn thing. But last thing I want to do is just hand you the keys to something where you don't even know how to operate. Right. So I do need you to know how to, I want you to know how to run the business. You don't need a manager, right? If you're doing like a small build out with just like 2-3 agents, we do that all the time, and you don't need a manager for that, right? So your costs are going to be lower with something like that. But let's say you want to start 5, 10, 15 agents, that's fine too. Now you're going to need a lot more components. You're going to need management in place. You're going to need CRM software in place. You're going to need quality assurance managers in place. So there's just more moving parts as you start to kind of scale the thing.
Okay,
So,
speaking of CRM,
as far as pricing goes, I don't know what to tell you, because it's kind of like a customized thing. So I'm happy to, anyone can book a demo with me, and then we can break down what size you're looking at. It's not like here's a package. So
sure. No, that's interesting that you brought the CRM stuff though, because if we're using our own CRMs, do you have a way to tie in your system with ours as opposed to us having to rely on some kind of weird import-export issue?
I have never run into a situation where I wasn't able to integrate in with the CRM. What are you using? What's your CRM?
High level.
That's what we use. So yeah, no problem.
Oh.
Yeah, that's about as user friendly as it gets.
Okay. Except for learning.
Except for learning. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I'm fortunate. I've been using high level for about 6 years now. I got started with high level Jesus, you should have seen what it looked like 5, 6 years ago. It was a disaster. You think it's complicated now.
Well, CRMs are in general are pretty
All of them
complicated.
are.
Or
Yeah,
can be,
none
right?
of them are super, yeah, user friendly.
Every
I'm
time
sure
you have software that does everything, it's a struggle to get it to do everything intuitively for everybody.
Yeah.
it,
So,
it is. Yeah, I agree with you. I
all
agree
right,
with you.
guys. Well,
You
thanks a
asked
bunch.
me
I've
the
got to
name of my
run, but
business. The funny thing is the name of my business is solar related, so it's a
okay.
little
Well,
off-putting to people because my
so we're
company's
just
called.
using the number that you have listed here.
Oh yeah, that's fine. You can text me there. I'll drop my link and I'll give it to to JJ.
We're going to
And
go
here,
over all that at the end of the call. The best way to
okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll
contact us.
drop my link in. But just so no one is surprised, it's got the word solar right in it because that's my primary industry that I service is solar. But like I said, I'm in real estate. Yeah, I've helped folks build this out for insurance, real estate agents. So it's the same thing. Nothing changes, right? There's functionally zero difference. The only difference is the script, where you get your leads, and the training of the agents. It just means you need agents with this type of experience as opposed to this type of experience, leads that are from this industry as opposed to that industry, right? So that's the only difference. There's no difference. Otherwise, the software is the same, the operation's the same, CRM is the same, everything's the same.
Excellent. Thanks a bunch, Peter. Appreciate your time. JJ,
Welcome.
as always, appreciate you, buddy.
Troy, you're on. You're on. Peter, what's your question, Troy?
Yeah, I just had a question about a software for kind of monitoring your VAs. What is your thought about using something like Time Doctor?
I don't know. There you go. Remember, I told you I don't pretend I'm not a bullshit artist. If I don't know something, I just say it. I don't know. That's not how in the call center world, call center software has its own kind of HR built into it. So it's monitoring their labor hours. It's inherently built into it's basically you're only paying them as they're dialing. Well, not really, but you're only paying them when they're actually actively on the phones. So in this particular case, and I'm sorry not to answer your question, but maybe this does answer your question. In the world of call centers, you don't need that because any software like Ready Mode will already natively be doing that inherently because you're only paying them when they're actively dialing. They don't have to be like speaking to someone at the real time, but they could be dispositioning a call or doing something like that. But you're only paying that their time clock is only ticking up if they're actively on the phones. Otherwise, if they're just surfing Facebook or something like that, Ready Mode will clock them out. It can see if they've been inactive for more than a couple minutes. It just naturally clocks them out. So there's very little risk of you getting ripped off.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks, Troy. Good to see you.
A lot of people now are starting to look into AI with, the assumption that AI is going to start replacing humans and that we'll be able to start using AI to make cold calls. And we absolutely can, just not legally. It is technically available. It is technically possible. And the AI neural engines now are absolutely capable of doing that. And it's shocking how good they are. Even just 1 year ago, it was not possible. I was demoing lots of different AI call center softwares as recently as a year ago, and it was not ready for mainstream yet. Now, oh my God, it's insane how good they are. However, they are wildly illegal. FCC has absolutely cracked down on that sort of a thing for obvious reasons. They don't want people using AI to make outbound cold calls for the simple reason that, well, obviously everyone would be doing it. Why would anyone hire another human to do anything ever again when you can unleash hell on the entire country's phone system in a matter of seconds by just saying go, right? And then just calling a million numbers at once. You could do that. So the FCC has stepped in there and said, that's way too easy to do that and just destroy our phone lines. So it's completely illegal and they are cracking down on it hard. I personally know 2 people that have been fined $50,000. But you can use AI for everything else. It just kind of defeats the purpose because that's the whole point of AI is top of funnel, right? Like not bottom of funnel. That's where a human should be intervening. And that's the beauty of AI is, oh, well, I'm going to use it here where I'm, cold calling millions of people. But they made it so that it doesn't work. So it kind of defeats the whole point. I mean, there's other use cases for AI, but in this particular one, it's kind of frustrating because it kind of defeats the purpose.
Okay. Now, did you want to kind of summarize things a little bit and go into?
Yeah, I want you guys to know this. Like, here's the cool thing about a call center, guys. I want to give you some quick metrics, okay? So you can wrap because that's important, right? The average call center agent should be booking 1.5 to 2 appointments a day. Okay, so just there's the most important thing that you need to know. And now you can start kind of extrapolating out from there. If you've got an agent who's not performing and they're only getting you like, a couple, 3 appointments in a week, that's probably not good. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to fire them. You need to look internally. You need to look to see, okay, are my dialer settings correct? Are my leads good quality? If you're calling garbage quality leads and they've already been badgered to death, you can't blame it on the agent, right? Don't go blaming, don't go scapegoat on the agent because it's something that's not their fault. So I also want to make that clear because I see this all the time where people scapegoat the agent and it isn't even the agent's fault. So always make sure that your lead list is high quality. The best way to know that is for you to call it yourself, unfortunately, but call it yourself, maybe spend a day or two doing it and see what kind of results you get. If you're able to pull 2, 3 appointments per day, well, now okay, well, I can do it. So maybe I'm not going to hold you to my same standard, but let's cut it in half. You got to book 1.5 appointments per day, right? But at least it's possible. You have to do the process of deduction and find out, you don't want to go firing people unnecessarily. So just keep that in.
Yeah.
But now if one agent is booking you 2 a day and you need 4 appointments in order to keep yourself really busy and making the kind of money that you want, well, now I just need 2 agents. So just really focus on building out a good quality call center with 2 rockstar agents that you really just nurture a lot.
Yeah. Hey, Peter, thanks for bringing me on, JJ. Peter, appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Just a quick question on those metrics. How long do you sort of give them, to measure those KPIs to see if they're hitting that?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's not an easy answer to answer. It's not like a super black and white thing because, like I just mentioned, this is kind of just extrapolating a little bit further on what I was just saying. You need to rule everything else out first, right? You need to know dialers don't always work in the first week or two. Even ready mode, it takes a little bit of optimization. It takes me about 2 weeks to optimize a dialer for my client to make sure that it's operating at its full optimal mode. So there's that. So the dialer. Number 2 is lead list. Like I just said, you have to know that you're calling a good quality lead list because you got to know who to point the finger at. Is it the leads or is it the agent? And you don't want to go firing an agent for no good reason. Like that's not cool. So you got to find out and make sure first that your lead list is trustworthy, which is why I just said you may have to call it yourself a little bit until you know for sure that that lead source is a reputable one. You got to rule out and know that you're dealing with a reputable lead source. Otherwise, how are you going to know what to point the finger at? And and that's how I lost a shit ton of money. You just pretty much put your finger on it. I never knew what to point the finger. I never knew what's going wrong. All I know is that I'm not getting the business that I'm supposed to be. I'm paying out money and it's not paying me back and I'm losing my shirt. And I never knew what the hell to point the finger at. So you have to be able to, through process of deduction, rule things out so that now well, lead list is cool because I just booked 3 appointments for the past 2 days in a row. So it must be you or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So that's unfortunately, there's not a super simple answer to your question.
Is anything like this over time, you're going to have fluctuation, variables, and things are going to change. But ideally, the longer you go in the process, the more things might be able to establish some kind of consistency. I got 2 last questions for if we can kind of roll things together. And kind of, first one directly relates to what we just talked about. If people are watching on YouTube weeks and months down the line, and they've got questions, they want to connect with you. Is it your TikTok? Is it your MySpace? Is it your Snapchat? I think it's MySpace, right? For you?
Yeah, for sure. Christian Mingle.
MySpace. There you go. Christian Mingle. So it would now, is it your website? You have Instagram, Facebook? What's the
Facebook is the best. I do have obviously a website. Instagram is fine too, but Facebook is that's where I'm most active by far. So just Peter Roth on Facebook, Peter Roth, maybe Solar. Maybe that'll pull my name up in this, but
the URL for his page is going to be official Peter Roth. And of course, we've got his photo on here. Guys, feel free to reach out to him with a Facebook message. If you guys are on the call right now, feel free to add him as a friend on Facebook. That is going to be the best way to reach him. Last question to you. I'm always talking about the importance of networking and leveraging social media to make ourselves visible. You've been in multiple industries. The real estate field that we come from, there are a variety of education programs. Each one has their Facebook page for their student body, their membership, their community. and all these communities have people coming every day. Some are very experienced investors, some are very brand new investors, but for the most part, most of them are learning to utilize social media as a business tool for the very first time.
Mhm. Oh, okay.
In your opinion, what is the importance of using and leveraging social media to the success of one's real estate investment business?
Fucking everything. I mean, could I put that more mildly? Literally everything. It's my entire business, I think, exists because of Facebook. If that means anything. There you go. I think my entire business, literally because I run ads on Facebook, I network on Facebook, I have friendships on Facebook. Everything is so literally everything. So if that's not emphasizing enough what JJ is saying, everything. I was literally joking around like because my daughter is 18, she's 18. And so, man, kids are weird now. Like their social media outlets are very different. Like it's not like Facebook. They're like Snapchat and TikTok and shit like that. There's no networking going on there. There's
No.
like you can message your buddies,
Yeah.
but there is zero networking going on over there. So I'm like, you guys are sorry, fucked. Like, how are you going to network? How are you going to build
Can't.
relationships? What are you
Can't.
gonna do? What are you gonna do? Go to the local like networking club, whatever I don't know what they're called because I don't do them, right? How are you going to actually grow yourself professionally when that time comes if you're not part of these platforms? And they think Facebook is for old people, and maybe it is. I don't care, but like the fact is, it's everything. Without Facebook, I wouldn't have a business. So it's everything.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was communicating with a friend of mine earlier who's a business professional about the importance of social media platforms, predominantly Facebook and Instagram, and how that if one wishes to get into real estate investment, it's important that not only that you have them, but you have complete control of your socials, of your Instagram, of your Facebook, who you're adding. You're able to read your messages. You can screen out what you don't need to have, but we have to have control of our social media if we truly want to use that as a business tool to benefit our business.
Absolutely.
Cool, my
Yeah, you
friend.
guys, if you're not using Facebook, I mean, if you're shy, I get it. Just just start working, just to get yourself out of your comfort zone, just like JJ said. But like start networking with people and you've got to start you have to start levering up. Right. What's the old bullshit? Like you're the accumulate, you're the median of all the people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah,
You got to start levering up, you guys. I mean, like, if all your buddies are, sitting around playing, video games and watching Netflix, well, there you go. That's where you're going to be stuck in for a long time. So
exactly.
you got to start connecting with people that are way out of your league
Yeah.
constantly. Like
Yeah,
I'm always trying to shoot for people that are way outside of my league, and rarely does it work. It's like maybe 1 out of 20 times do I get a connection with someone who I'm really trying to connect with. Because I'm really trying to put myself into like private equity shoes. So I'm really trying to like communicate with people who are really higher ups in the world of private equity. And they're not interested in me, but I'm trying to get their interest and I'm trying to bring some value to the table and trying to get them to notice me somehow. And it's not easy, but
yeah.
do what you do to start levering up.
Yeah, it's about being noticed. As you say, if we're not memorable, we're forgettable. If
I love
it's
that.
not who we know, but who knows us.
Yeah, I love that. I
And
like that you say that.
yeah, and just as a real estate investor, um, the way we're going to get business is by resonating with others. And we need to use and leverage social media so that people know who we are, so that we can better market ourselves. We don't market our business, we market ourselves because people are going to do business with us, not necessarily our company. So,
Mhm.
hey, guys, with that, if you're watching on YouTube right now, please like Peter's video. Please give us a big thumbs up and please put some comments in. If you guys are on the call right now, just go back to the YouTube, channel, pick up a couple of videos, leave some comments, leave some likes. That just really benefits what we're doing. If you guys want to get in touch with Peter Roth on Facebook, you need a solar call center, Peter Roth. And of course, the URL is official Peter Roth. Facebook.com/official Peter Roth is his URL for his personal page. Feel free to go message him there on Facebook. And if you want to connect with me, guys, scan the Tricos QR code here. Takes you to my website, jjazizian.com. Please click the register now button, register for the group. Scan the purple QR code, allows you to subscribe to the YouTube channel and see all the wonderful videos and guest speakers we have coming up. And to share this great value like we have today with Peter. Peter, I thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you, man.
Stick around. We're going to keep, after the recording, we're going to get everybody back together for a little bit. And if you guys are watching on YouTube right now, please reach out to Peter on Facebook, connect with me, and look for more stuff coming up with Flipside with JJ.